Hello everyone, welcome back to the Gaming Droid and welcome back to modern Skyblock 3. So today what we're going to do is we are going to start working on some of our... one second, dash pq admin edit mode off. We're going to start working on a couple of the quest lines. So Under Pressure, which is Pneumaticraft, and Embers, which is Embers. So we're going to add these to our trophy wall. We've got Pneumaticraft and Embers, and we're going to start working on both of these. But to start off, I do want to slightly upgrade my Chaos Gem. So at the moment, what I've got is I've got a Chaos Gem with Flight. So if we look at Silent Gems, and we go through to our Chaos Gem Charms, we can do Capacity, which is a fragile Chaos Orb surrounded by enriched Chaos. And then we've got Recharge, which is a Chaos Core surrounded by enriched Chaos. So what we can do is we can put together some of these elements because we have plenty of Chaos left. So let's start with the Chaos Rune. We have a fragile Chaos Orb. That was something we actually had to create. What are we missing for enriched Chaos? We are missing redstone. We had a fragile Chaos Rune, which is something we actually had to create for one of the quests. So, 1, 2... And now what we can do is we can create a capacity rune with that. And now if you have a look, this is 2 million max capacity. If we throw a capacity rune on it, which uses up a single slot, we go from 2 million to 3 million capacity, which is a nice little boost. And we can just drain the spare charge in this, which actually gets us up to 3 million. And this is, at the moment, charging just off the 2 passive pylons. I could give it, I suppose, a little bit of charcoal to enhance it. And then the recharge rune requires a chaos core in the center, and that requires enriched chaos. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that allows us to make a chaos orb, and then we need 4 more enriched chaos, which we can't afford because we don't have enough chaos essence. So what the recharge rune allows us to do is it actually allows the chaos orb to recharge over time. Now, the other thing I want to make today as well is a cocoon of Capri. So we need to make a fell pumpkin. I've already gotten all the ingredients together for that, and then we can make a cocoon of Capri. Now, when you put down a cocoon of Capri, it spawns a random animal. Now, what it can do is it can spawn a pig, horse, rabbit, chicken, etc. But you can actually force it to spawn specific things. If I put this down and I start feeding it emeralds, once I've fed it 20 emeralds, it is now guaranteed to spawn a villager. Every time you give it an emerald, it gives it a small chance of spawning a villager. Once you've given it 20 emeralds, that chance is 100%. So this is now guaranteed to spawn us a villager when it breaks open in about 5 minutes' time. So what we can do is with that is we can actually use that to farm emeralds, which is basically what I'm going to be using it for. I'm going to be using it to farm emeralds so that I can do some upgrades, because what we can do with emeralds is we can take the shards that are made when we break these down, and we can use those shards to upgrade these into the higher tier ones, which will allow us to make more upgrade charms. So we're headed along the lines of upgrading. Might as well grab this one as well. And throw that down. That's the star metal one. So we want to do a little bit of Pneumaticraft, a little bit of astral sorcery, things like this. But the other thing we also have to do is we have to get through the rest of actually additions, because this and this are both quests that are required for progress. So one thing we can do is we can take a bucket of... That's not the tank. Where's the tank gone? I know I have a tank around here somewhere. Take a bucket of this oil, and I've crystallized some seeds, which is not a problem. We can just put the oil back here for now. I've crystallized some seeds, which is one of these, and the crystallized seeds turn this into the enhanced version of the oil, like so. So that's the quest for crystallized oil, which is just oil plus crystallized seeds. And to get the empowered oil, we need the empowerer. And these are just upgrades to the oil. So normal oil produces 80 RF a tick. This thing produces, I think it's 120 RF a tick. And it produces 400 RF per millibucket if it's put into a turbine generator. So all sorts of different sort of sources of sources of power. So we need to make the Empower next. And for the Empower, we need to make 5 display stands, which means we need 15 blocks of quartz. I believe. So we need 30 blocks of quartz. There we go, 30 blocks of quartz put together. And what we need to do is we need to make 15 of them into a chiseled variety. So if we look up uses and we look at them in the atomic reconstructor, this becomes etheric quartz. And we need etheric quartz, and we also need another kind of quartz, which is the green kind. So if we look up chiseled quartz block uses, this becomes the green kind. So we just need to make it into a chiseled quartz block. Like so. There we go. So now we have quartz and chiseled quartz. And if we go up to our power level, we can throw both of these down here and just give it a boop. And that should give us etheric and etheric green. And this will last to make our display stands. And Actually Additions provides an interesting little upgrade mechanic via the Empower system. So the way the Empower system works is we use the Empower and energy and 5 ingredients to turn one item into another item. We need to make 5 of these. Bloop. And just make sure that registers before we... that's registered. Excellent. And then we move on to make the Empower, which requires a battery, which requires one of these. So we need some Enori. All of this stuff can be made using the atomic reconstructor, but we got it all from loot bags. So we are quite lucky with that we got so much of it from loot bags. And the iron casings just require iron. We're running quite low on iron. We're down to 142 ingots, and that's after I emptied out the river grates that are gathering us iron slowly, passively. But I have made some iron and put it on to cook, so shouldn't be too bad. There we go. And then we need to set this thing up. And it's quite difficult to set it up in some ways. So where have we got connectors? We're going to have to set it up kind of like here. And we go 1, 2, 3, 4. And now what we do is we need to give each one of these a connector. So have we got any cable and connectors? We've got 2 cables, no connectors. So we need to make some more cables, which means we need our engineering hammer, and we also need our shears. We need to make 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 of these, and then we can make these, and then we also need to make the connectors, which is just 3 copper and 2 of those. And now if we pop up to the top here, we can lay down 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I think connected to the top like this it will actually get power. Yeah, connected to the top, it does get power. Excellent. I should probably put them in a place that's slightly less dangerous. or use insulated cable, because I can actually get hold of insulated cable now. But for now, I'll just pop that there, because that will give me what is necessary for now. And we can claim that. Oh no, we have to make empowered everything. Okay, so we need to make some empowered everythings to complete this quest. So let's look up the empowered variants. So empowered redstonia requires nether brick, redstone, brick, red dye. Empowered palace requires prismarine, 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 and cyan. Where are we going to get prismarine from? We can get prismarine by throwing alchemist, catalyst, nether quartz, or by putting nether quartz through the atomic reconstructor. That's fine. Void crystals are charcoal, flint, stone, and ink. Not a problem. Emeradic crystals are grass, oak saplings, slime balls, and lime dye. Again, not a problem. I mean, the hardest thing is going to be the lime dye, but that's not a problem, really. And then Empower is snowball, grey dye, cobblestone, and buttons. So what I'll do is I'll get all of this together and ready. And these things, if we have a look at the uses of them, they're used for making all of the more advanced things, rings of growth. And so this is basically a personalized lily pad of fertility. It makes the lasers, but we can't use the lasers yet. Bioreactors, things that eat leaves to make power. Item repairers, these will repair items in exchange for power. Solar panels, which just produce a small amount of energy, I believe. Augments for the drill. Shock absorbers and crystal blocks. And then we've got lenses of disenchanting. The lens of disenchanting is really interesting. You can actually strip enchantments off items. Ring of liquid banning, which removes liquid from around you. Ender casings, phantom faces, and player interfaces. Greenhouse glass. And if we look at the void crystal blocks, we can actually use this to make the large storage crates, as well as the vertical diggers and the void crystals. But the large storage crates are quite interesting. So what I'll do is I will gather all the materials we need for all of these, all the prismarines and dyes and things, and I will come back when we're ready. Hello everyone. So let's see what we've got. We've got the ink from the squid beaks that we got out of the loot bags. We've got the void crystal from the loot bags, charcoal that we made, flint and stone basic ingredients. That's for the empowered void crystal. For the empowered emeradic, we've got slime from the slime saplings, grass we had in chest, saplings we had in chest, lime dyes, bone meal, and green floral powder. All the dyes we got from floral powders apart from the red, which we already had some roses. So that's for the emeradic. For redstone, we've got red dye, redstone. We need to make a brick, which we can do just by throwing you in there. We've got nether brick, which we already had smelted up at some point. We've got cyan dye, 3 prismarine, which is just nether quartz in front of this, for the palace. And then for the diamantine block, we've got 2 clay, a clay block, and a light blue dye. So all we have to do is go ink, charcoal, flint, stone, void crystal, and that should empowered void crystal block, charcoal, flint, stone, ink. Charcoal, flint, stone, ink. Wait, what? Are the display stands not far enough away? That may be my problem. There we go. Okay, so welcome back. Sorted out. It was just that the platforms were 1 block too far away. So now these things are going to slowly drain, and that's going to put power into the void crystal and make it empowered. And literally we just have to cycle through all of these. So that's been eaten, that's been eaten, that's not been eaten. So these things have been eaten, so you can go in there with our chest of eaten things. Zombie jerky hasn't been eaten, neither has asparagus quiche. We can put the spare zombie jerky in there because you're going to have been eaten. We can also put away our pickaxe and our spare tool. Oh, careful not to teleport on top of the things that are hurting us. And there we go, there's empowered void. The next most expensive one to make is the redstone to my knowledge. There we go, and that will make the redstone for us. And what we'll do is we'll just cycle through these different different items that we have to make. We're generating, or should be generating, more than enough power to keep up with this. I mean, you can see that these things are ticking down slowly, but that's just the kind of transfer rate, really. The 3 generators over here should be slowly draining, yeah, but we're not draining too bad. Next is Palace. We can go prismarine, 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 dye, and just get that one going. We really do need to insulate the cables at some point, but I'm being extremely lazy and not insulating the cables. Okie dokie, so there we go. We've got one of each block. Now we needed to make the non-block variants, but that's easy enough. I made the block variants because whether you're making a single item or you're making a block, although the energy cost changes, the item cost doesn't change. The item cost in the center of the block changes, but the cost of like the dyes and things you put around them doesn't change. Oh, we didn't do empowered Inori. I will be back momentarily. We need to do empowered Inori. And for the grey dye, we're going to combine black floral powder and some bone meal. There we go. And we can just pop up and zoom through. Oop, don't stand on that thing. Zoom through, making ourselves a block of Inori as well. Very, very easy to make. We can actually set up sort of semi-automation from this using hoppers attached to each of the things and a hopper underneath the empowerer. But before we do that, I think I want to set up some form of energy transportation that isn't these cables. And there we go. That is empowered Inori. Not sure where the explosion came from, but hooray. So there we go. We now have the empowered Inori crystals, which is used for crafting, and that moves us on to these quests. Ender Casing. Power from leaves. The leaf eating generator uses the leaves nearby to generate RF. Phantom faces. You cannot connect phantom face. You can connect phantom faces to blocks so that you'll be able to interact with them from a distance. This actually might be a kind of power transmission, because we can interact. We can add phantom faces to blocks so we can transmit power from a distance. So we could actually use the phantom energy faces to transmit power in and out of power cells and things. So that's a thought. I very rarely use the phantom faces from Actually Editions, because by the time I get into empowering in Actually Editions, I tend to be already sort of beyond needing phantom faces. Although phantom faces are useful, I tend to have things like the interdimensional transmitters and things. The ender casing is used for making more advanced machines and items. Yay! So then the other thing it wants us to make is an experience solidifier. So that needs us to make some more empowered diamonds and things. So what I'll do, because we need to make empowered items for all of these, 2 blocks of empowered diamonds, etc. You've just seen me make the empowered things. I will work on those and make those outside of the stream. Or outside of the episodes, and in the next episode we'll start off by finishing off the Actually Editions quest chain. So what were we missing for this? It was emerald, coal, quartz, and diamond. Emerald, diamond, diamond, coal, quartz. Ah, there we go. We've got a villager. Hopefully it is the kind of villager I want. This lens just allows us to use power to turn stone into ore. What have we got? We've got an arborist, which is exactly not the kind of villager I want, because he's got nothing to trade me positively. I will give him like 5 emeralds in trade to see if we can get him trading. See if we can get him to activate an additional trade. Okay, so we've got an additional trade, which is silver lime pollen, a proven grafter, and 20 plum planks. And another additional trade. And again, that's just emeralds for balsa wood. So no, he's just going to be basically a wasted crafter, a wasted guy. So what we can do is we can actually make more of them later. I'll just quickly show you what this does. If we go like this, and then like this. No, we have to place it. There we go. It turns it into different ores. I wonder if it does... Oop, no. Put you there. No, it only does the ones directly in front of itself. And that is a way of... And we can actually automate this with block breakers, placers, and timers. So we could actually automate that to basically make us ore over time. It's not a bad automation. I mean, it's ore in exchange for RF. It is very expensive RF-wise. Like, the amount of ore you get in exchange for the RF is quite small. You don't get a lot of ore for your RF. So I wouldn't necessarily be in a rush to do that. Anyway, we unlocked down in the lower reaches, we have unlocked the power of the stars, under pressure, and embers. Under pressure allows us to get miniaturization, compact machines, which allows us to make like subdimensions in which we can place items. It also allows us to make RF from pressure. It allows us to transmit pressure around. Power of the stars allows us to make all of the astral sorcery things, and embers allows us to start breaking down items and doing some interesting ore manipulation or metal manipulation. So if we look up at embers, we're going to need the basic tools. And the basic tools for embers include the forge hammer. This guy, Tinker's hammer. And that's just lead, iron, and sticks, which isn't a problem, for connecting certain embers blocks together. The next one is by piping ember shards or crystals in an ember activator, you can turn them into raw ember energy. And that requires us to get hold of ember shards. So how are we going to get hold of ember shards in the mod pack? We can combust blaze powder and sky crystal to get ember shards. So if we take blaze powder, and we're going to have to go and fetch some sky crystal from over here, but that's not a problem. So over in our combustion chamber, what do we need? We need 13 to 2. Is it because the combustion collector? No. We have got no reason why we shouldn't be able to do this. And yet, it won't let us do it. Mildly frustrating. Can we actually make any of the... Can we actually complete any of the rest of embers without that? Can we make the item transfer table? Lead plates, item pipes is lead and lead. Yeah, we just need a small amount of lead or a medium amount of lead. So we need to make some lead plates, which we have to make using our Tinker's hammer because we haven't... it's interesting that you have to make those using the Tinker's hammer. You'd think there'd be some way of making them in embers. Whoa! Okay. So they're 4 times as expensive if you make them in embers. So yeah, let's just make them using the Tinker's hammer. I think that's a lot cheaper. Let's make a few of these embers pipes. And we'll make an item transfer. And what else do we need to make for that quest? Fluid extractor, fluid pipe, item extractor, item dropper. Item extractor requires Canamite, which is sand and clay. We don't have any sand in there at the moment, so let's make a little bit of Canomite plating. And we can cook those up upstairs very easily. And while that's going, we should be able to make a fluid pipe, which is just iron. Not a problem. We're smelting up an absolute ton of iron in our smeltery at the moment. So we'll make fluid pipes. 2 sets of fluid pipes for now. A fluid extractor also needs a Canomite plate. So the extractors need plates. We need an item vacuum. Item vacuum. And then we need an item dropper. And then we just need the Canomite plates. So these are Ember's item manipulators, and I haven't really used Ember's item manipulators before. This is a piping system that we just got access to. So I'm hoping this is a better piping system than the one we have already. So, Ember's pipes require an extractor powered with redstone, preferably a lever, for extracting, but are faster than factory tech's conveyors. They can be filtered with item transfers, and there is also an item vacuum for sucking at items and an item dropper for dropping them. Okay, so basically it gives us a set of piping that is better than the factory tech piping, which is kind of what I was hoping for. I was kind of hoping that we would get better than factory tech. But the one problem we have is that we can't seem to make the Ember's shards. Just let me triple check this. Combustion chamber. Any of the combustion chambers. 1,400 heat units. Blaze powder and crystal shards. But I'm hoping that the piping system works better. What I will do is I will have a look at setting up the piping system and also have a look what's going on with this thing, why it's not giving me the items I need. So by piping ember shards or crystals in an ember activator, you can turn them into ember energy. But it won't let me make them. Okay, so it won't let me make those, in which case we're going to work on under pressure. So to start with under pressure, we need compressed iron ingots, and to start with miniaturization, we need a miniaturization field. So let's look at miniature, mini A. There we go, miniaturization. Requires a personalized miniaturization device, which isn't hard, and then requires diamonds and eyes of ender. Eyes of ender shouldn't be too bad. We can just throw some blaze in there. And diamonds we've got 90 of, so not terrible. So miniaturization device, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what this is a way of making very, very small real-world items. So basically we make individual dimensions, and then we use those dimensions to fill with blocks that are doing things for us. That allows you to make certain items from blocks placed with the field when certain items thrown in. And basically what that means is we set up a field using these field projectors, and then we can make items using them. So a tiny compact machine leads to a 3x3 room. So if we look up at compact, to make a tiny compact machine we need 24 machine bricks, and we need to throw in an ender pearl, or 26 machine bricks in a 3x3. And to make these we need the miniaturization blocks. We need to have redstone and block of iron, and we need to throw redstone on top of it. So put very simply, to make one of these, if we grab some stone, about 20 will be fine. And if we head over here, we actually have a nice little pre-set up kind of platform for this. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And then we can pop these on top if I can get them facing the right way. There, now we have a field. And then what we need to do is place blocks underneath it so that we can have access to the field like that. And now we can actually make the items we want to make. Oof, that was frustrating. So we need, what? We only have 8 blocks of iron at the moment in there. So let's take 4 blocks of iron and 8 redstone. Good. We are still pouring out. So what we need to do is we need to make the recipe it shows like that, and then throw that in. And what that does is that shrinks that down, and it creates us whatever item we created, which in this case was 16 of those. If we do it again, and you can make this field bigger and bigger and bigger if you want to make bigger things. But you can see the basic principle of the compact machines. And then if we want to make the tiny compact machine, which is what it wants us to make, within this field, we need to build a 3x3 hollow cube. Which is just going to fit inside the field. And then we need to get the catalyst, which is a ender pearl. And that turns that into a tiny compact machine. And the tiny compact machine is literally a 3x3 room, internal dimensions room. And these can go up to 13 by 13 by 13 rooms. And these allow for you to build items inside them. Then you can make tunnels used to connect wall blocks with the outside of the compact machine frames. And redstone tunnels used to transfer redstone signals. So we can move items in and out as well. So if I was to place this, say, here, and boop it, we end up in a little 3x3 room, and we can build machinery in here. And as long as we keep this chunk loaded, the inside of the machine counts as being loaded. So that gives us our little compact machine, which we can use to go in and out as necessary. And we can build bigger and smaller machines from compact machines as well, which we'll do. We'll make compact machines because there's a good way. It's a good way of putting away factories and things like that. So other than that, we need compressed iron, which requires gunpowder and sand because we need to make some TNT. So TNT. And then we need some iron, which we'll get from our smeltery. And we also need a lever, thinking about it. So let's go and grab a lever. Actually, no, we could do with the flint. We can do it with the flint and steel. And we have quite a few flint and steel. So flint and steel wise, we have... Where are my flint and steel in this thing? They're around here somewhere. There we go, 109 flint and steels. I think we have enough flint and steel. So the kind of trick to this is to do this down in the water like this. And bloop. And that makes us some compressed iron. And then basically we can do the same again. Out of the water, you. Iron, TNT, and compressed iron. And this is the start of... this is the start of Pneumaticraft. And Pneumaticraft allows us to create some interesting items, including drones, things like that. It's not really my favourite mod, but it is an interesting mod to say the least. And it allows us to create things like guns. I don't think it has any kind of RF transmission pipes. It does everything using pressure pipes, pressure tubes instead. So crop supports. Crop supports make adjacent crops grow faster. So crop supports make adjacent crops grow faster. When placed on soil between a crop, this will improve the crop's growth speed of the crop. Not bad. And then we have an air compressor. The air compressor is the start of Pneumaticraft in a way. It uses solid fuels to create pressure, and pressure is what we use to do everything. It's the RF of Pneumaticraft. We'll just make a single air compressor for now. And that creates pressure for us. We can also make a liquid compressor, which compresses air based on fluid fuel. So for a liquid compressor, we need a compressor, pipes, bucket, and leather. And the liquid compressor we're actually quite useful because we can use, I'm pretty sure we can use canola oil for the liquid compressor. The advanced liquid compressor, this machine, is the tier 2 version of the liquid compressor. Like its less resistant brother, it generates compressed air using liquid fuel, but generates it at tier 2 pressures. Thin transfers. The transfer gadget can be placed on the side of a block for it to auto-output into the block next to it on the same side. Oh, interesting. So this is like thin versions of the... item transfer nodes, because you can make thin down item transfer nodes by crafting them with a anvil. The pressure chamber walls and pressure chamber valve. So pressure chamber is where we do a lot of our compressing. And it is one of the sort of major elements of these mod packs, or the Pneumaticraft mod pack, in that we use it to pressure chamber interfaces. There we go. 1, 2. We use it to compress pretty much anything, including making more compressed iron if we want to. The charging station allows you to charge certain items. Yeah, so they're just like with RF. You can charge items using pressure, just like you can charge items using RF in other mods. And some of the items require pressure to function just like some items require RF to function. In the meantime, we'll take 3 clay and we'll go and make 3 bricks. And we can make ourselves a charging station in case we do want to use anything from this mod. And then we have pressure to heat the vortex tube. This allows us to produce heat using pressure. It's just a heat exchanger basically. But you can produce heat using other things. You can put compressed blocks to the hot side, transfer heat to them, and then the blocks adjacent to them. You transfer this heat to the furnace, it'll use that heat instead of fuel. The higher the heat, the faster the furnace will run. So you can actually use this to power furnaces as well as other things. But a lot of the Pneumaticraft machinery that requires heat can be heated up via other systems. So heated up via much simpler systems. And the other thing we have access to now is the liquid hopper. And the liquid hopper I really, really like. The liquid hopper is a hopper that transfers liquids, as you would believe. But what you can do is you can actually pipe it from an angle. So the front of it, the face where the liquid goes in, points in whatever direction you are facing from. So if I am facing this way, it will pump liquid from this way. So you can actually set it up so that it'll pump horizontally, it will pump out and up, it will pump in all sorts of different directions. It's actually a very useful little addition from Pneumaticraft that we now have access to. Now we've got Pneumaticraft. So now that we are into the position of actually needing to do processing, the thermo pneumatic processing plant, I think what I will do is I will call the episode here. We did a lot of kind of half doing things in this episode. We crafted a lot of stuff up, but in the next episode what we'll do is we'll actually grind down into Pneumaticraft. In between episodes I'll just set up a basic Pneumaticraft system, and we will grind down into Pneumaticraft. And also between episodes I'm going to be making all of the empowered stuff to make the empowered items from Actually Editions. So, thank you all for watching. I have been the Gaming Droid. This has been Modern Skyblock 3. And I will see you in the next episode when we're going to have a lot more empowered items and also access to quite a bit of Pneumaticraft's bits and bobs. So, I will see you all in the next episode. Bye bye, everybody.